fans in the National Football League annually elect the newest Patriots Hall of Famer, and then you come here to honor that inductee at this free ceremony. So again, congratulate yourselves for an outstanding choice this year. This year we celebrate the career of Matt Light, three-time Pro Bowler, three-time Super Bowl champion. Today he's going to take his place in this team Hall of Fame. So let's be sure to make today memorable for him, for his family, and memorable for him the same way that he helped make so many Sundays memorable for us. What do you say? To lead it off today, we'd like to welcome some very special guests. They represent 5 of the greatest games and 5 of the most memorable moments in franchise history. It's always good to invite a few friends along, don't you think? Yeah. Yeah. 5 of our best buddies right here. Before we introduce our alumni that are going to be present here and a part of this with you today, I wanted to take just a moment, if you'd allow me, to acknowledge the loss of one of our Patriot legends. On April the 19th, earlier this year, the Patriots organization, along with radio listeners around New England, mourned the passing of Patriots Hall of Famer Gil Santos at the age of 80. Gil called 743 Patriots games over 36 seasons, including 3 Super Bowl championships. He's represented here today by his son, Mark. We thought it would be most appropriate for a moment here to just pause before today's ceremony to think about Gil in remembrance of the voice of the Patriots, Gil Santos. Thank you. God bless you, Gil. This afternoon, we're honored to welcome back dozens of Patriot alumni, including 11 Patriot Hall of Famers. Collectively, they represent more than 300 years of Patriot service, covering a span of 57 seasons from 1960 through 2016. Please provide a warm welcome as I introduce Patriots alumni in attendance today. Starting with the alumni whose careers began in the 1960s and 1970s. Please welcome back center Peter Brock. Coach Rick Buffington. Running back Bob Capadona. Defensive tackle Rick Cash. Linebacker Bill Matthews. Kicker John Smith. Guard Len St. Jean. Defensive tackle Ed Toner. And kicker and punter Jet White. And now, the players whose careers began in the 1980s and 1990s. Starting with safety Jim Bowman. Linebacker Vernon Crawford. Elgin Davis. Defensive tackle, Chad Eaton. Tackle, Ed Ellis. Tight end, Paul Francisco. Linebacker, Ilya Yaroschuk. Defensive back, Ronnie Lippett. Cornerback, Mike Scooter Magruder. Running back, Ronnie Perryman. And quarterback, Scott Zola. And now, if you would please welcome the players from the past 2 decades, beginning with guard Joe Andruzzi. Tackle, Tom Ashworth. Linebacker, Tully Bendicane. Tackle, Wesley Britt. Linebacker, Matt Chatham. Running back, Thomas Clinton. Lineman, Dan Connolly. Wide receiver, Doug Gabriel. Defensive end, Jarvis Green. Guard, Russ Holstein. Center, Dan Copen. Linebacker, Nico Kudavides. Lineman, Logan Mankins. Lineman, Stephen Neal. Linebacker and defensive end, Rob Ninkovich. And long snapper, Lonnie Paxton.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, man? Doing all right? There it is. Good work.
All right, before I begin introducing our Hall of Famers, I want to take just a moment to recognize Rachel Nance, who joins us every year on behalf of her father, Jim Nance, who was inducted in 2009. So please join me in welcoming home 11 Patriots Hall of Famers, all told. We'll introduce them in the order in which they were acquired. The careers of these Hall of Famers extend from 1960 to 2011. We begin with... He was an original member of the Boston Patriots in 1960 and retired as the AFL's all-time leading scorer. He was a 5-time AFL All-Star and the 1964 AFL MVP. He was the second Patriot to ever be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame in 1992, and for 28 years he teamed up with Gil Santos to call the Patriots games. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for the Duke, Gino Cappelletti. Drafted in 1964, he played 11 seasons for the Patriots and earned 7 consecutive All-Star appearances with 6 AFL All-Star games and 1 Pro Bowl selection. In fact, he was the first Patriot player selected to a Pro Bowl after the AFL-NFL merger. He was an anchor of an offensive line that helped Jim Nance amass a team record 45 touchdowns from 1965 to 71. He's a member of the 1960s All-Decade team and the Patriots' 50th anniversary team. Please welcome center and 2011 Hall of Fame inductee, John Morris. Drafted in 1973, he played 9 seasons and is still the team's all-time leading rusher with 5,453 career yards. His 43 rushing touchdowns, second in team history. He was the team's leading rusher in 1978 when it set the NFL single-season rushing record with 3,165 team yards, an accomplishment that has stood for 40 years. He's a member of the Patriots 50th anniversary team, the 1970s All-Decade team. Please welcome home 2010 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee Sam Bam Cunningham. In 1974, the Patriots drafted a hard-nosed linebacker who played for 14 seasons and finished patriotic number of career tackles, 1,776. How about that? He was voted to 3 Pro Bowls while averaging and recording more than 100 tackles 9 times in his career, and he averaged better than 10 tackles per game for his career. He was named to the Patriots 35th anniversary team in 1994, the team of the century in 2000, and to the 50th anniversary team in 2009. Welcome 93 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee Steve Nelson. In 1975, the Patriots drafted this quarterback in the 5th round. He played 16 seasons, spanning 3 decades. He threw for 26,886 yards and 182 touchdowns. Never one to avoid contact, am I right? He also rushed for 2,164 yards and 35 more touchdowns. His 12 rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in 1976 stood as an NFL record for 35 years until Cam Newton broke it in 2011. He's a member of the Patriots 35th anniversary team. Welcome 1995 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee Steve Grogan. In 1977, the Patriots drafted 2 players in the 1st round. The first ended up wearing number 26. He became the 26th Patriots Hall of Famer just last year. In 13 seasons, he set a Patriots record with 36 career interceptions, later tied by fellow Hall of Famer Ty Law. He holds the franchise record for consecutive games played with 161 and consecutive starts with 147. He played one of his best games in the 1985 AFC Championship game when he intercepted Dan Marino to help the Patriots break an 18-game losing streak at Miami's famed Orange Bowl and earn a berth in Super Bowl 20. He is a member of the Patriots' 1970s and 1980s all-decade teams. Please welcome 2017 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee Raymond Claiborne. In 1977, the second player drafted in the 1st round became a reliable deep threat. His 19.2-yard average per reception is the best in NFL history among the 100 players with 500 or more receptions. He played 13 seasons in New England, held the franchise record with 68 until Rob Gronkowski broke it last season. His 10,352 receiving yards are the most in team history. He was named to the Patriots' 50th anniversary. Please welcome 2007 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee Stanley Morgan. In 1982, the Patriots drafted one of the greatest linebackers to ever play this game. He is the franchise's record holder with 100 career sacks. He also holds the team record for most sacks in a season with 18.5 in 1984, and his 35 sacks by a linebacker over a 2-year span remains an NFL record. He was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008, joining John Hanna as the only 2 players to earn induction into the Hall of Fame after spending their entire career with the Patriots. He also was selected to the NFL's All-Decade team in the 1980s. Please welcome Patriot and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Andre Tippett! In 1993, the Patriots drafted this player in the 8th round. He was the consummate team player, contributing on offense, defense, and special teams throughout his 15-year Patriot career. He caught 557 passes for 6,366 yards, 31 touchdowns, returned 252 punts for 2,625 yards, and 3 more touchdowns. He also happened to intercept 3 passes while playing defensive back in 2004. He was named to the Patriots' 50th anniversary team and the 1990s All-Decade team, and he's also a 3-time Super Bowl champion. What didn't he do? Please welcome 2012 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Troy Brown! In 1995, the Patriots drafted this Michigan cornerback. He spent 10 seasons with the Patriots, tied a team record with 36 career interceptions, including a franchise best 6 that were returned for touchdowns. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler as a Patriot, a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He helped lead the Patriots to their first Super Bowl title when he returned an interception, 47 yards for a score for the Patriots' first points of that game. 4 years ago, he celebrated his induction into this Hall of Fame by donning some rather fancy footwear and once again dancing with Mr. Kraft. Please welcome 2014 inductee, Ty Law! In 1996, the Patriots drafted the only player in NFL history to ever return 4 consecutive interceptions for touchdowns. His relentless work ethic and on-field intensity helped set the tone for the entire team. During his 13-year career, he helped lead the Patriots to 11 winning seasons, qualifying for the playoffs 9 times, including 8 as a division champ. He helped claim 5 conference titles and 3 Super Bowl championships. Bill Belichick once described him as the perfect Patriot. Please welcome 2013 inductee, Teddy Bruschi. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce this afternoon's honoree. If you would, please, now turn your attention to our video boards for some highlights from his Hall of Fame career.
Matt Light entered the NFL in 2001 and almost immediately became an anchor of the Patriots offensive line as their starting left tackle for the next 11 seasons.
Matt embodies a lot of the qualities that we like to have in football players around here. You know, he's tough, he's smart, he's athletic, and he played his entire career here, which is really unusual in this day and age.
Drafted in the 2nd round out of Purdue, Light was generally pitted against the opponent's most dangerous pass rusher as protector of the quarterback's blind side.
It really is hard for a left tackle, and especially a rookie left tackle, to really catch up with the skill level of the guys that you have to block, and he was pretty darn good.
While playing his entire career exclusively in New England, Light appeared in more than 150 regular season games. A three-time Pro Bowl selection, Light was honored as a first-team All-Pro in 2007, when the Patriots offense surrendered only 21 sacks in producing one of the most prolific seasons in pro football history.
As a football player, his best years were in the last two-thirds of his career, which is a testament to him improving. He became very, very good at his craft, which was blocking some of the, the premier pass rushers in the league, and that's really a credit to him.
The 6'4", 305-pound Light started 20 career postseason games, including 5 Super Bowls, and retired as a 3-time champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming today's honoree, Matt Light. At this time, it is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the New England Patriots, Mr. Jonathan Kraft.
Thank you. So in 1971, right up there where the Brigham and Women's and Mass General Building is right now, Schaefer Stadium opened. And in 1971, my dad bought season tickets, and my dad and my brothers and I, from 71 until 1994, when we bought the team, there was always at least one of us, and usually all of us, in that building. And we would go to Schaefer Stadium. We always wanted the team to win, but we didn't go with the expectation that the team was going to win each week. We went to watch great players play NFL football. And we would go into that building in 71, and we'd hear people talk about the great Gino Cappelletti. He's the only red jacket up here that didn't play in Schaefer or in Gillette, but they would talk about him because he was the leading scorer in AFL history. But we would watch guys like John Morris. He'd anchor the line, and you'd watch Steve Grogan run those naked bootlegs. And when he wasn't running naked bootlegs without any fear, he'd be throwing 40, 50, 60-yard bombs to a streaking, steaming, elegant Stanley Morgan down the sideline. And I know my good friend Ty Law thinks he was the first shutdown corner, physical shutdown corner in Patriot history, but it was actually Ronnie Lepet, man. No, I'm joking. It wasn't Ronnie. It was Raymond Claiborne, and Raymond Claiborne did it magnificently. And then you had Sam Cunningham, and the only Patriot that was ever feared more by linebackers than Sam Bam Cunningham was John Hanna, and I think Sam's okay with that, but he was amazing. And then Steve Nelson would patrol the middle of that defense, and you didn't want to come in contact with him. And in the late 80s, Andre Tippett took the field up there, and he could be double-teamed, he could be triple-teamed, and it didn't matter. The quarterback had to run for his life. And those are the Red Jackets that played for the team before our family had the privilege of owning it. But then you had guys like Ty and Troy and Teddy and Matt, and I think I got everybody else here. And we got to know them as people. And after Gillette was built, we started talking about and thinking about building a Hall of Fame to honor the great men. And by the time we got around to it in '05, not only did we have great players, but we had some really great history in terms of team achievement on the fields. And we wanted to build a Hall of Fame that honored their great legacies, but also what the team was starting to build. And we had an idea that to make it really special, it should have something to do Monday through Friday during the school year too. And we came up with the idea of using football and math and science themes that come from football to help keep the building active all the time. And with that vision in mind, we approached our good friend Bill Swanson, who is the CEO of Raytheon. And for those of you who don't know, Raytheon is this country's leading defense contractor and weapons system maker. They do what we need to do to keep the women and men who are serving for our country safe. And they do it because they've got women and men who work there that are brilliant, brilliant, brilliant engineers and scientists, and they designed these amazing systems, and they bought into our vision, Bill did, of science and math and football all coming together, and we created a curriculum, and Raytheon became our naming partner the year we opened the hall. We're 10 years later. 10 years later, over 1,100,000 people have come through the hall. Last year, 175,000. And to put that in perspective, the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton only had a little over 250,000 people last year. But more importantly, over 20,000 students a year now, most of them grades 4 through 8. Come here Monday through Friday. We're totally sold out. We're trying to figure out how to add more. Not sold out, they come. It's not they come and they get this amazing math and science education. So any educators out there, start booking for next year. We'd love to have you. But as we were approaching this 10th anniversary, we re-engaged with Raytheon to talk about if they were interested in partnering for the next 10 years. And their new CEO, Tom Kennedy, was completely in favor of it, but he had a really good point. He said, I love the math and science elements of what we're doing, but Raytheon is about keeping our women and men in the field safe and keeping our country secure. In the stadium, you have your row of honor for active military. We were the first stadium to have a seat for representing symbolic of the MIAs who have served this country and never come home. And he said, I want the hall as a part of this extension to be free for active military men and women because they have so little free time. Yeah, and I want them to be able to do something without having to pay for it. And then to show our respect to the veterans, I want it to be free for all veterans too. We thought it was a great idea. We agreed with them. That started for the next 10 years. This past February, already over 2,000 active military women and men have taken advantage of it. And I hope when we're at the 20th celebration, we'll be talking about 200,000 active military and men and women who have taken advantage of it. So thank you so much for being here as we start our second decade and to honor Matt Light.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, this next man has watched the career of every Patriot in attendance today. He attended games in the 60s at each of the Boston Patriots venues. You heard John mentioned earlier. The team moved to Foxborough in '71, bought season tickets for his family. 23 years later, he bought the team and he pledged to help bring a championship to New England. And as you can see from these baubles behind me, they're all sparkling. He's more than delivered. This is his 25th season as an owner, and his Patriots have sustained unprecedented success over 2.5 decades of dominance. Since 1994, the team has won more games, more division titles, more conference championships, and more Super Bowls than any other team in the National Football League. When he bought the team, it had hosted only one playoff game in 34 years. It has since hosted 25 home playoff games in the last 24 years. He also privately financed the construction of Gillette Stadium and decided to decorate it with a few championship banners. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Patriots Chairman and CEO, Mr. Robert Kraft.
Thank you. How cool is it to be here today with all of you? And so thank you, John, for that very kind introduction. You know, Matt Light was fearless. For more than a decade, he faced the NFL's strongest, fastest, and most ferocious pass rushers on a weekly basis. The likes of Jason Taylor, Dwight Freeney, and Terrell Suggs. He had the most important job on this team, in my opinion, because he had to protect Tom Brady's tush. But Matt took fearless to a new level. Dare I say, he might have been one of the game's most fearless players ever. You also know that he was a notorious prankster who really passed up on any deer. To my knowledge, Matt did something during his playing career that has never been done before, and I'm quite sure it'll never be done again. He once pranked Bill Belichick. Once. I'm sure Matt will tell his story best, but I'll share this much. The prank not only shocked his head coach, quite literally, but it also erased hours of work Bill had gathered on his laptop. For Light, pranking Bill even one time, it wasn't very bright. But there's a fine line between fearlessness and foolishness. Luckily, Matt typically found just the right balance, and he always kept things, well, light. We welcomed Matt to New England in 2001 when he drafted him in the second round out of Purdue. We were coming off a 5-11 season, and our left tackle, Bruce Armstrong, a Patriots Hall of Famer, had just retired. Matt filled the void, and as he did many times over his career, he rose to the challenge. For the next 11 seasons, he anchored the Patriots' offensive line and remarkably never experienced a losing season. During his 11-year career as a Patriot, the Patriots won 9 AFC East Division titles, 5 conference championships, and 3 Super Bowls. He started 173 of 175 games at left tackle, including 6 AFC championship games and 5 Super Bowls. In the history of the NFL, there's only one player who has started more Super Bowls than Matt Light, Tom Brady. Make no mistake, this all-pro left tackle, 3-time Pro Bowler and 3-time Super Bowl champion, is being inducted into this Patriots Hall of Fame for his performances on the field. But Matt's performances off the field are legendary too, and we know will continue to grow with the passage of time. From the day Matt arrived in Foxborough, he was the guy who kept everyone laughing. He brought humor and hijinks to the locker room. Every year, just prior to the season, our foundation hosts a fundraising gala for about 1,000 guests, and we introduced the whole team at that dinner. In 2001, comedian Dennis Miller was the MC for the event. Back then, our captains would surprise a couple of the rookies by handing them the mic and asking them to speak. Watching rookies at a loss for words was always entertaining, mostly for the veterans who once had the same experience. But in '01, Matt Light stole the show. He had the crowd in Dennis Miller in stitches. We weren't sure if he was ever going to give the mic back. No rookie before or since has ever been as comfortable in the spotlight as Matt Light. We knew that night that we were in for a lot of fun with Matt in the future. That was our introduction to Matt's lighter side and the joy that he so naturally brought to everyone around him. Throughout his career, he could find humor in most situations, and if he couldn't find it, he would often provide it. He became the face of the offensive line, a face that often started the season clean-shaven and studious in appearance, and it evolved to a non-shaven and Neanderthal appearance. The rest of the linemen typically followed his lead. But what I admire most about Matt is for all he contributed to the team, both on and off the field and in the locker room. It will be his contributions off the field and the impact that he continues to make in the community that forever will be his greatest legacy. His interest and desire to help others, especially children, has long been Matt's mission. I remember when he started the Light Foundation in just his second season with the team. Matt asked for my support and an endorsement of his inaugural fundraiser. Now, this wasn't your typical foundation fundraiser. Most of the guys who had initial fundraisers like that hosted a golf or bowling tournament. Not Matt. He hosted the Matt Light Celebrity Shootout, arming dozens of teammates with shotguns deep in the woods of Rhode Island for skeet and target shooting. What could possibly go wrong? 14 years later, the Celebrity Shootout and all of its participants, I'm happy to say, have survived. His philanthropic efforts were recognized in '05 when we honored him with our Ron Burton Community Service Award, which we present to the Patriot player who makes the greatest impact both on and off the field. He was a fitting recipient then, and only has given more of his time, of energy and resources in the years that have followed. He remains the ultimate example for our players of what it means to be a champion, both on and off the field. Matt arrived in New England as a fresh-faced, 22-year-old man, young man. He and his lovely wife, Susie, made Foxborough their home, and they've raised 4 beautiful children, Colin, William, Grace, and Anna. Why don't you all stand up, please? While here, he became an all-pro player, an all-pro prankster, and a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Today, he becomes a Patriots Hall of Famer. It is now my honor to put out the welcome mat and welcome Matt Light as the 27th person to be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Here we go. You know, for most of you that are here, you know me, and you know that I relate to camo and anything dark and slimming. All right? That's usually my attire. But I have to say, I'm digging the red. I like this a lot. Thank you. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. You know what? I'd like to begin by acknowledging how significant this honor is to me, to my family, and to the Patriots organization. First, to all the Hall of Fame inductees, I am honored and I am humbled to share this stage with you today. Many of you have inspired me along my journey with your words and your work ethic. I'll never forget that. There's a reason why you're sitting here today. And it's much more than football. Much more than football. You know, to be recognized for doing your job isn't why I played the game of football. But I've been thinking about this day since I got the call, and I've realized that these moments are all about hitting the pause button on life and reflecting on the hard work, the ups and downs, and the unexplainable moments that have shaped my life. And there is one thing that can pull all this together, all these great moments while wearing the Patriots uniform. One thing that can properly define the reason why we experience such greatness. It's what kept me going, and it's why it means so much to me today. It's all of you. Each and every one of you. I knew this would be the time where it get tough for me. But I mean that. It's each and every one of you here today. I'm fortunate, I guess. I don't have to worry about, you know, some touchdown pass or a touchdown catch or a game-winning sack to cloud any of my memories. Shocker, I'm an offensive lineman. My best plays have long since faded from my mind. But the people who shaped me into the man I am are more vibrant in my life today than ever before. And I want to introduce them to you all now. In 2001, I told a girl's mother, who I met for the first time, that I was going to marry her daughter. And she told me to get in line. Literally. I married my wife, Susie, that same year, and my life was immediately purposeful. It's not easy being an NFL wife, and in many ways, she was the one having to stand and wait in line, especially when it came to things like the NFL season or rehabbing from an injury, and sometimes some celebrations that lasted way too long. Through it all, my wife has been my strongest advocate, my best friend, and the best mother to my children. I love you, honey. My firstborn, my amazingly talented daughter, Grace, arrived just after our first Super Bowl victory in New Orleans. And that was a good one. One of those celebrations that lasted a little too long. My first son, Colin, was born just after a Super Bowl as well. And that young man has a heart like no other. Literally. William was born less than 2 years later, and he's been making us laugh ever since. He gets it honestly. And Anna, in retirement, we were blessed with Miss Anna, has quickly become Daddy's little sidekick. Grace, Colin, William, Anna, I'm so proud of you. And I'm so very proud to be your father. Now, when it comes to proud parents, well, my mom and dad had to wait a while on that one. All right? I was that kid. And I seemed to find trouble everywhere and anywhere. I won't bore you with all the awesome tales of adventure of a young punk who grew up in a small town. But if you'd like to discuss those with my mom today, I always enjoy watching her retell the stories, so please ask. You know, my mom gave me a gift right when I needed it most, and it was in the 7th grade that I decided to earn a little extra money, and I got a paper out. I was a great paper boy, but when it came time for football season, my mom reminded me that I had signed a contract with the local paper to deliver papers for the year. I couldn't do that and play 7th grade football at the same time. She told me, you have to finish what you start. You can clap for that. As a parent now, it's easy for me to see how letting my kids do what they want and what makes them happy is easiest. But doing what's right takes so much more effort. Mom, thank you for doing the right thing. Thank you for doing the hard thing. I love you. My father, who has always been a man of many talents, didn't grow up with sports in his life. And we didn't grow up with a lot of sports in our household either. But when it came to football, I will always remember my father trying to teach me the physics of the game. Literally, with calculations and like diagrams and like all kind of crazy, language that someone my age could never have possibly been able to comprehend. But he went on and on and on about all of them. He'd say, make sure your first play sends a clear message, and don't ever stop until after the whistle. I took that advice to heart, and I've been penalized ever since. Mom, Dad, I love you, and I am thankful for giving me such an amazing foundation rooted in family and faith. Thank you. To my football family, let me start with a man whose first words of advice came days into our relationship. I wanted to inform my new offensive line coach that I thought I was suffering from narcolepsy. Joe, I know you remember that moment. To which he replied, I don't give a damn what you have to do, but you aren't sleeping in my room. I learned from that very early interaction that he wasn't kidding and he wasn't joking. I spent my first year standing for most meetings. And even then, I managed to fall asleep. But I was awake for most of my career enough to realize that Dante Scarnecchia was a man who gave everything he had to the team. a man who earned the right to demand the same from each and every one of us. Scar, thanks for all the work you put in to making me a better player. Dante Scarnecchia. Shockingly, Coach Belichick and I had a much different relationship. It was the kind where I banked on the fact that he was acting mad, but really actually enjoyed having me around. You know, my wife would always beg me not to do what I thought would surely be viewed as funny. She'd say, honey, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. But together, we did have a lot of lighthearted moments, and probably some that he would rather have not endured. But those aren't the things that stand out most. I'm forever grateful for him staying with me through my ups and downs as a player, and most importantly, when after going through a very painful time in my life, struggling with a major surgery that was kept quiet, and a very difficult battle with Crohn's disease, he never once brought up football. He didn't ask or inquire about anything other than my health. And my status as a starter was never in question. His confidence in me was a huge part of my recovery. For that, I am very thankful. Coach Belichick, I love you. Appreciate you. To the head of the Patriots family, Mr. Kraft, our first meeting with you and your family was at your downtown office location. And you were outlining a program that provided meals for families in need. That sent a very clear message to me on day one, and I am very grateful for that lesson. I'm grateful for my relationship with Myra and your entire family, and the example that it sets for so many players. In New England, you must continue that same legacy in what you do off the field as well as what you do on the field. I knew that on day one. I've seen that play out, not just in my 11-year career, but in the lives of people right here in the great city of Foxborough, and the people that I interact with on a regular basis, in the 20,000 plus schools that come through this hall, and in so many other areas of my life. That is something that we will never, ever, ever forget. Thank you so much for those lessons. Now it comes to all of you, whether you're family, friends, all of you that have supported me as a player, as a father, as someone who's running a foundation. I'll never be able to repay you. I will never be able to thank each and every one of you enough. But I promise you that I will work hard each and every day to do everything that I can to live up to what you have given me. And this Hall of Fame represents all of that. I am so thankful. I will continue to do what I do only because you guys empower me to do so. To all of the fans in New England who literally stood by a chubby white guy from the Midwest, I love you so much. You've given me more than I deserve. To everybody at the Life Foundation, To all of my family and friends here today, thank you so much.
If you would, for just a moment, Matt, we have a very special message that we'd like to share with you. He's in team meetings right now, as you're aware. He probably has a little business to take care of tomorrow, but he did want to send you this message. Coach Belichick.
Matt, I'm proud to say that we go back a long way together, back to the 2001 draft. I remember when the process started, and we weren't sure if you were a tackle or a guard or a left tackle or a right tackle, but we needed offensive linemen, and so we drafted you in the second round, moved up ahead of the Jets, who we thought might also be after you. But I know it was kind of a rough start there in training camp. We bumped around a few different positions and so forth, but ended up at left tackle. And Matt obviously had the hardest, one of the hardest jobs in football, and that's playing left tackle. And in our division, guys like Schobel, Freeney, Jason Taylor, the Pittsburgh linebackers, there were great players to block every week, and Matt stood in there and blocked the best of them week in, week out. Been one of our most dependable players. Was very consistent and physically and mentally tough to do that. Do it on the road, do it with crowd noise, do it every week. And I remember when we went to the Super Bowl in the 2003 season, played Carolina, and that was the big mismatch of the Carolina defensive line against our offensive line. They made a big point of that all week, and of course they had Peppers and Rucker and Buckner and Chris Jenkins. They were pretty good, and you guys blocked them well, and that was a big win for us, and it was a big, really big accomplishment for the offensive line to be able to move the ball and score points and win at the end like we did in Super Bowl 38. But of course, at the Super Bowl ring ceremony, you weren't able to attend that because of the surgery involved with the Crohn's disease and having the foot of intestines taken out and all that. So Matt always kept it loose. Loved to make fun and take advantage of everybody. Head coach certainly wasn't exempt, and I got a few counter punches in, but probably not as many hits as Matt delivered. But I always appreciated your attitude to keep things loose, but at the right times. And when it was time to get serious and get down to work, you were always the first one to roll up your sleeves and do it. And so that leadership and dependability and toughness that you gave us from your first year in 2001 when you played in the Super Bowl to your last year in 2011 when you played in the Super Bowl, the only player in NFL history to do that, playing Super Bowls his first and last year in the National Football League, really is a testament to the consistency, toughness, determination, and skill, playing skill of Matt Light. So, Matt, congratulations. I look forward to seeing you in that red jacket, and I'm sure you'll wear it well. Thanks.
All right, Coach Belichick, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to invite Scott Zolak to the stage, along with three of Matt's former teammates that he was with. So let's give a warm round of applause as we invite former Patriots Dan Copen, Stephen Neal, and Logan Mankins to the stage.
All right, how's everybody doing? Well, you know the drill. We do this each and every year. Copen, right here, buddy. Yep, put Matt in the middle. Do this each and every year. It gets bigger and better. We appreciate your patience. It's a great fall day, and for anybody that goes to the Hall of Fame here and takes in that movie, this is pretty much your setting on a great New England afternoon. People could be apple picking, getting pumpkins, maybe driving tractor trailer trucks like Logan Mankins, but you're here to dump trucks. You're here to honor Matt Light. All right, Matt, first question. 2001, you get the call. Obviously, coach says we don't know what the hell you're going to be. Right guard, right tackle, left tackle. What were your thoughts coming from Purdue and obviously the state of Ohio where you're from, New England?
Yeah, and I hate to admit this, but I had no idea where I was actually headed to. I had never seen an NFL game in my life, and I know people want to call like, that's not possible. But trust me, when I looked over at my friend and I said, hey, where is New England? And he said,
you're a smart kid.
No, and then it makes me sound a lot more ignorant than I really am. But I remember him saying, dude, you're going to fly into Boston, man. You're going to the Patriots, right? And I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, no, I'm in. And I remember the first thing I got on the phone with Scott Pioli, the director of player personnel, right? And I said, hello, sir. And he said, listen, Matt, you're going to be going from one Drew to another. Okay. All right. So, listen, it's from that moment on, I got a great education in the National Football League, most importantly, this Patriot organization. But that particular time for me was, as Dante Scarnecchia has said many times to me, I didn't know if the ball was pumped or stuffed.
All right. Mr. Kraft alluded to a trick that Matt played on Coach. You guys were all in the same room, right? The offensive line room, as you complimented Dante Scarnecchia. What was the joke you played on Coach?
Which one?
Well, the keyboard one, where you lost all the information. You changed the mouse or something, didn't you?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we started that one on Dante. You have to prove some of these theories that you have, right?
Well, you go so deep. He's like a method actor, like Will Ferrell. When you get into character, he never really comes out of it. So on this one, fortunately, he actually let us in on it beforehand. So, you got the remote.
And they all thought it was a great idea, by the way.
Yeah, because you were at the head of it.
Because I was the one that was going to be delivering said device into the lair, right? So, so I had this device that looked just like a mouse. It had a cord. It actually plugged in. And I'd gotten it off of Amazon or I don't know what back in the day. But there may not have been Amazon at that time. And so I remember I snuck in his office when he was in a staff meeting, and I took his mouse, I put it in his drawer. And I had never been in the office before, by the way, so I kind of got sidetracked looking around and seeing stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's kind of interesting. And so I replaced this really powerful mouse on his computer, and I walked out, and I totally forgot about everything because we're in training camp. I mean, you're there from 6:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And you go back to a hotel, you wake up from said hotel, your neck's killing you, you're dying. You walk in, the last thing in my mind is this stupid mouse that I put in the head coach's office. But I was reminded.
So what happened? So he got zapped pretty damn good, right?
Well, so I walk in, and his office is immediately on your left, and Bears is there, and he says, hey, not a good idea what you did yesterday. To which I obviously deny till you die, right? What's going on? What's going on, Bears? Oh, well, Bill's not happy. That's not my problem. And then he proceeds to tell me that somehow he got shocked by a device that was attached to his computer. The first time it happened, everything was okay, but the second time he got shocked, he hit something on his keyboard and lost his entire program that he had up, which wasn't intentional. And I say, if you're going to be an error repeater, what happens the second time you get shocked isn't my fault.
All right, Logan, Steve, Dan, talk about what it means to be an offensive lineman. Because we've inducted Ty, Troy, Teddy. You get a couple linebackers or a receiver or two will come back. You guys are like cattle. I mean, you pretty much have every guy that you ever played with out there. What's it mean to be an offensive lineman? Why do you guys always stick together like cattle?
As a group, we're there all day together with Dante. We just kind of stick together, and out there on the field, we got to take care of each other as well. So Matt didn't talk about the punishment we all endured. The whole offensive line.
What was the punishment?
Well, the whole offensive line, we were doing a bunch of sprints, and Bears told Matt, but Matt forgot to tell us that conversation. So we find out after about 10 half-gassers, don't ever do that again. We're like, what is he talking about? Oh, he got caught. So it was you ride together, you die together. So, but yeah, we had a lot of fun together. But I think being offensive lineman, you're just out there. You're trying to do your job. You're working together. So one thing we always talked about is we're like the 5 fingers of your fist. You know, so you try to punch someone with only 2 fingers, it's not going to work. So if you're all working together, you can knock out a mighty foe. So that's why we're all still here. We're a giant fist all here together.
All right, Logan, he tells the story about Susie tells him, you know, you got to clean yourself up. So he starts camp and he's clean shaven. He has a nice haircut like he looks right now. Was there ever any weird moments where she would come to you guys and say, you guys got to talk to him, you got to cut his hair? He started to morph into the Nickelback lead singer. And I want to talk about the Channing Crowder play, too. I mean, it's Dolphins weekend, right? So we all remember down in Miami. What happened, Logan, for the Channing Crowder melee when they had the helmets off and he had the long hair and they're swinging helmets at each other?
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly started it, but I think Crowder thought he was a little tougher than he was when he went up against Matt. But that was great. That's how Matt was, and that's what made him a great player. He never backed down from anyone, and he was the ultimate teammate. I was a rookie when I got here, and Matt had already been here like 4 years, I think, and he took me in with open arms, brought me, my wife, and kids over to his house, really accepted me, and he made it so easy for me my first year. And I was lucky. I played next to Matt for 7 years, and I don't know how many guys get to left guard and left tackle for that many years in a row, and it was very special. And he off the field, best teammate ever. On the field, best teammate ever. I remember the Crowder fight. That was awesome. I was so happy to be involved in it. But
were you pulling him off? Were you stuck in the
He
middle
wasn't
of it?
kicked out this time, so he was happy.
Yeah, it was one of the very few moments where, I was the one leaving the stadium and you were still on the field.
But I remember another time, and he was always there for you, whatever you needed, off the field, on the field. I remember we were playing, I think it was Detroit, and of course me and Sue were getting after it. And right, we score a touchdown and we take the lead, the game's over, and I look at Matt and I just say, get ready. And we snap the ball and I grab him by the helmet and pull him on the ground, and I'm going after him. And I look up and I just see Matt on him, just punching the hell out of him. And I was like, that's my teammate right there.
Hey, listen, by the way, for those of you that watched that game, we were playing in a Thanksgiving game. This was towards the end of my career, and I think that was probably one of the highlights of my career. I mark anything on the field with either a fight, an ejection, or something controversial. And that particular moment, I think we were up. That was probably going up by 30 at that point in the game. And I remember I got the call from Logan basically, in real time, like, hey, like he said, you better get ready. This is going to get real. And I knew it was going to be an awesome moment, but I remember coming out of the pile, and I remember you were throwing guys off, and I remember coming out of the pile with Sue's helmet and chucking it all the way across the field. And then I thought, wow, that's going to get expensive. It's going to get expensive. Best moments.
Right. That's the kind of teammate he was. I didn't have to tell him what was going on. I just said, get ready, and he was right there with you.
You guys wore the throwbacks that day, too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Some of the old guys here, not the old guys, but some of the guys inducted, guys like Groves with the neck roll. I remember seeing Brewski with his 54, the white helmets. How hard was that to switch helmets mid-season for one game?
That was the worst.
Does it give you the headache?
Yeah, I mean, you use the same helmet all year. You break it in during training camp, and obviously that's not fun. And then you get a brand new hard helmet the week of the game, and you got to go through the same.
But we
thing.
look good.
Yeah, you guys look great. It's like the red net.
That's really important.
Neil, give me what was the story? Give me another good prank he did in the locker room. Maybe he left a head of something in someone's locker. Was there a head? I hear a couple laughs out there. Andrewsy, was there a head?
That was more Andrewsy, probably.
Yeah. Andrewsy was the king of the pig's head.
It was a hog head, right?
It was a pig head.
It was a pig head.
It wasn't alive. It's okay.
Hey, wait a minute. You know one of my favorites now that we're up here? When you do so many of these moments, and then you get a whole group of Neanderthals together, you start remembering things that you've forgotten. Cope, do you remember... Do you remember when we had you guys all remember this, when we had the scratch-off tickets that became a major part of the locker room?
Yeah.
Can you talk about the time that we were sitting next to each other at the table? And by the way, remember, training camp.
Lottery tickets?
Yeah, lottery tickets. Training camp.
We went through phases.
Yeah, the most terrible moment in any player's life is that period of time that you're in training camp, right? So you have to do something to not go completely insane.
Tell them about the first one. Second year, we're in training camp. The dog days of training camp, and then he comes out of a meeting, 9 o'clock. He's like, "Hey, I wrote a song." Like, what?
I had to stay awake somehow.
We're going over film, and he just comes out. He's like, "I wrote a song." Like, okay, what is it? He's like, called Mustache Man. I'm like, all right, I'm the second. It's my second year. Logan, you weren't there yet, but still, second year is like. He's like, I want to record it. Oh, he will. Don't worry about it. No problem with that. He comes out. He wrote a song. I'm in my second year. He's like, I want to record it and film it. I'm like, okay, I can't grow a mustache, but that sounds cool. Let's do it. So we get in there. She gets it down. I think we had lobster. Remember lobster or crab puff?
Oh, it's terrible.
We get in there. Everybody's been. Brady was involved in this. If you haven't seen it.
All right. So Brady had the mutton chop into a mustache, back up to the mutton chop.
He had to be high class, high style.
Andruzzi looked like literally like he just came out of the pizzeria. I mean. Steve, Steve's. If you could picture him in a mustache, I'm telling you, your mind can't do it justice. It's unbelievable. Ambrose Burnside's at one point, but definitely a mustache to be reckoned with. Yes. So we all did this mustache thing, and we go in for the CBS like Sunday Night Crew, right? Isn't that what it was? We had to go in.
You just filmed it on your own.
No, we went in and it was training camp. Yeah.
I think it was Monday Night Football. It was
no,
Monday
we
night.
went in and we sang Mustache Men on a green screen.
You sang Mustache Men. No. I mean, it was basically five guys. Yeah, you should sing it. We can help you out then.
All right.
Here we go. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah, just all we say is men. We can handle it. You got it.
You got one job to do. I mean,
all right, we'll probably laugh again.
Yeah.
Why don't you get who was it? Whoever was involved. Who was involved? Andruzzi.
Andruzzi.
Let's go, big boy.
Hey, Joe, you got to help the people around you.
Did Patches grow a mustache?
You can sit right here, Joe. Come on.
Patches.
Yeah.
Russ.
Come on, Russ. Come on. You have one job. After we say mustache,
He messed it up
all the time. You have to say men. That's the only job you got. Men. Twice. All right, as they're coming up here, I'm going to take you guys on a little journey. Now listen up, friends. I got a story to tell about a group of men who knew how to live well. They formed a team and they made a pact. They're big old boys that wear a mustache. Mustache! Mustache! Now they come in all kinds of colors, black and gray, and some redder than others. A constant source of sheer delight in the middle of the day or the darkened night. We grown thick and we grown thin. Yeah, that's right, we're the Mustache Men. Mustache! Mustache! And we don't give a damn about a beard or goatee, 'cause having hair on my chin don't settle well with me. It's who we are, it's what we do, we're mustache through and through. I know. Now, the Mustache Hall of Fame, well, it's colored in history. We got Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds, and my good friend Ron Burgundy. And I always remember the immortal words of my good friend Johnny Cash. He said, be good to your mother, good to your brother, and always tend to that stash. Mustache! All right, we're done.
All right, let's give it up for Logan Mankins, Steve Neal, Dan Copeland, Joe Andruzzi, Russ Holstein, and of course, there's your newest Patriot Hall of Famer right there, Matt Light. He's going to MC his own induction. This is great. Take it over, Matt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you again for attending our 11th annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony here at the Patriot Hall of Fame, presented by Raytheon. The Hall of Fame will be open until 9 o'clock tonight. We hope you'll go by and take the time to visit if you haven't yet done that. The newest exhibit is titled Recording Artists. Thanks to this one here. Highlights of all the NFL, Super Bowl, and playoff records held by the Patriots. It includes some amazing artifacts. Be sure to visit the Patriots Hall of Fame. And on behalf of the